What's going on, guys? Jesse Haynes here with cardlines.com, and this is part 3 of our 6-part series of how to maximize your eBay returns by optimizing your listings. Today we're going to talk about the age-old question of if you should list your sports card auctions as a buy it now or an auction on eBay. We'll look at the pros and cons of each and then determine what makes the most sense for your sports cards. If you enjoyed this presentation, be sure to like and subscribe. I'm officially a YouTuber after saying that, so pretty excited about that. Made this awesome presentation for you guys. I'm a graphic designer, soak it up. Yeah, I made this on Canva this morning, so we're really making moves in the right direction. I figured this would be better than screen sharing my eBay the entire time. So, here's the pros of an auction. When you list as an auction, you're listing, typically 5 to 7 days. You're setting a start price and letting people determine how much they want to pay for something. So, in doing that, knowing that there's a 7-day window thereabout, you can strategically plan your auction so that you're maximizing the opportunity for it to sell. One of my best auction success stories of all time is I listed a Tom Brady rookie 7 days, almost 7 days exactly, before he won his 7th Super Bowl. So as soon as the game was ending, I had this auction that was expiring, and I was obviously hoping that he would win. And since I had this card in 12 minutes after he'd won the Super Bowl, people were losing their minds on eBay bidding it up. So it was the highest selling Brady rookie of the night. Auctions also respond to the market. So say you have a rookie card, a Prism rookie of a backup quarterback listed on eBay, and the starting quarterback gets hurt. People are going to immediately go buy it now of the backup quarterback because it's probably underpriced now, assuming that the backup's about to be the starter. If you have an auction and you have the backup quarterback listed, as soon as the starter gets injured, people are going to go bid it up, but instead of selling for like $10 buy it now, it might go all the way up to $30 or $40, given that he is the newfound starter. Also, auctions take less effort to sell. You just list them, you take your pictures, you put them on for 5 to 7 days and just let it ride. 5 to 7 days later, you have a buyer, you package and ship them, and you get the money for it. It's very hands-off, it's a pretty easy process. Here's the pros of a buy it now. With the buy it now or best offer, you can always obviously take offers, which is a beautiful negotiating tactic, so it allows you to haggle and find a price that you like. I usually ask 20 to 30% more than I want to take for the card, so I can haggle back and forth with the buyer, and then both parties feel like they win when you come to an agreement that makes sense, and you strike a sell. Buy it nows are low maintenance in that with the new eBay offering, you can do a listing so that it never expires. It's good till canceled. So you just list it there and it basically sits on your store shelf essentially until somebody buys that card. I've had cards sell 9-10 months after listing them. It's kind of a pain in the butt because you have to go find those cards because you haven't seen them in a year, but it's fine. It's totally worth it because you can throw them on eBay and just let them ride. And finally, with the buy it now, you're happy with the sales price guaranteed. I've had a few auctions that have undersold in my eyes, and it always feels like a punch in the face when that happens. But when you do the buy it now, like I said, if you undersell the price, it is 100% your fault. So with enough control of the pricing and the negotiations, you should never be unhappy with the sales price. Here's factors to consider when you're determining whether or not you should do a buy it now or an auction. Think about the age of the card. My rule of thumb is that if it's an old card, always listed as a buy it now. There are just less people searching for, Troy Aikman throughout the course of the week than there are people searching for Josh Allen. So to maximize the window of opportunity and get the most eyeballs on your card to ensure that it sells for the price that you want, I would list the older vintage cards as an auction. As a buy it now. With headlines, it works the same way. So even the modern stars that are still active players, if they're not making headlines, you might consider listing those as a buy it now too. For example, Courtland Sutton is a player that I'm buying a lot of right now, thinking that there's a chance that he becomes one of Russell Wilson's favorite targets and has this breakout year this year. He's not making a lot of headlines right now, so buying his cards as an auction is a lot cheaper than buying the ones that are listed as a buy it now. The ones that are listed as a buy it now seem to be priced like they're expecting him to have a breakout year, and nobody else really seems to be doing so right now, so I'm paying 50 to 60% less by picking them up as auctions. And also consider how quickly you want to return. If you're in a pinch and you want to get some liquid cash to start reinvesting in something else, then consider doing an auction because like I said earlier, you're going to have 5 to 7 days before you have a guaranteed sell. And if you list as a buy it now, it could be 5 to 7 months before it sells. You just don't know. Here's the numbers. Let's check this out. I did some research and looked at PSA 10s of all these cards and how they've sold. over a 30-day period and compared the buy it now average price to the auction average price. So as you can see, just going down the list, the buy it nows typically sold for quite a bit more. Particularly this vintage Dick Butkus card, it sold for nearly twice as much as a buy it now than it did as an auction. But when you average it all up, it's $844 versus $726 is the average selling price for the auctions, which meant on average buy it nows are selling for 14% more than the auctions. What's that mean for you? If you want to make 14% more on average, obviously it's a small sample size. We can say roughly 15 to 20% probably, maybe 10 to 20% is safer. But if you want to make that extra 10 to 20% and you're willing to wait and you want more control of the negotiation and the pricing, then I really encourage you to do buy it now. If you want to liquefy your cash by generating some quick sells, do an auction, let it ride. Just consider the player that you're selling and all of that before you list your cards. Now, in the next video, we're going to talk about how to price your card from the start to maximize its value. And until then, hop on eBay, check out your cards, get to listing, and come back next time. We're going to have some more fun on eBay. Thanks.